Hello, Scorpio friends. I'm Annie Botticelli, and welcome to my Scorpio June 2023 Astrology Horoscope Forecast. This is for you if Scorpio is your sun sign, your moon sign, your rising sign, or any other placement of Scorpio that you watch for. What we're going to talk about here is part of your astrological picture. And if you're a very late degree Scorpio friend, so birthdays like November 15th through the rest of the sign, or Scorpio placements around 23 degrees through the rest of the sign, I also suggest you listen to my Sagittarius reports, as both the Scorpio and Sag reports will have pieces for you very late degree friends. I'm calling the theme of this month 7 major manifestations for Scorpio this month. And I'm going to give you a quick overview of the general astrology of the month, and then we're going to dive right into these 7 major potentials. Okay, first thing to know is we do have slightly more sweet aspects compared to salty ones. Sweet aspects are when the planets are getting along. Salty ones are when they are not. So we will have some bumps, but we still have more of the nice connections. So that always sets a nice tone for the month. Something else to celebrate this month is we're easing out of the heat of eclipse season. And this is especially relevant for Scorpios, seeing as you just had a lunar eclipse. We'll refer back to some of this later, with some of the points that I'm making. But we're not going to dive very deeply into that eclipse because I cover that in the April and May reports. If you want to listen, it probably would make sense to really go into that because Scorpios are going to be noticing this. This is a very big time of karmic wrap up and, very intense emotional experiences. But this month, what we need to know is that we're out of the heat of eclipse season. So although information, even certain events, can be happening still from these eclipses at this time, things are starting to calm down a little bit, and we're starting to be able to see more what the things that happened in April and May mean, or what the implications may be, or having more clarity as to what to do with this information or these circumstances. A lot of the things that happen from eclipses are non-negotiable, so we don't really have a say in them. We only have say in how we're going to handle them, what we're going to do with them. And with April and May being clouded with Mercury retrograde, it's a little bit hard to do that. Everything's very day to day. But here in June, especially the first 3 weeks, we're going to have kind of a coming up for air with a little bit more clarity at that time. Okay, so of a very important note, between June 1st and 19th, we have the last open period free from personal planet retrogrades and their shadow periods for a while. So once June 19th comes around, from then until into October, we're going to be in the Venus retrograde cycle. This is nothing to fear. Venus retrograde can bring lots of wonderful things. You can look up Annie Botticelli Venus retrograde to find my YouTube video, and at anniehelpsyou.com, I have a lot of Venus retrograde blogs. You can look to my book, Planetology, How to Align with the Natural Rhythms of the Universe. All of these are tools you can dive deeply into to benefit from my expertise in the topic of retrogrades. This is one of my babies that I, have really focused on over the last decades. So there's a lot to know there. But what we need to know now is that June 1st through 19th, we're free of the retrograde. We also need to know that starting June 19th, the energies that Venus rules, love, romance, relationships, money and finances and self-esteem and beauty and design, all of these things want to do a backward and inward flow for a very extended period of time. And so opportunities from the past, challenges from the past, everything from the past will be coming up as it relates to these things. And there's a chance to redo and redefine and, renegotiate and all of these things. Could be lots of exciting opportunities, but it definitely is an inward and backward energy that we start to get into around the 19th and after. Whereas between the 1st and the 19th, it's this push, it's this forward movement. If you've been listening to my work, then you know the analogy that I like to use to help differentiate these energies is between June 1st and June 19th, we're the spider weaving new webs actively all over the place, getting them set up to gather food and information for us. And then once we get into the retrograde, June 19th and beyond, we kind of hang out and we see what shows up in our web and we sort of just deal with that. It can be a very active, busy time, but our attention is really drawn to what comes to us rather than us conjuring. But June 1st through June 19th is more of a conjuring, setting out forward, bursting forth. So it's really great for big decisions and more clarity and gatherings and basically anything you have to schedule that you want an easier flow, engagements, weddings, big purchases, sales, anything that you want to have a forward flow. to be part of the imprint for a long time to come. Because when you do something big, that's the birth date of that thing. And the stars at that time are incorporated into the life of that project or experience. Okay, without further ado, let's talk about these 7 major manifestations for Scorpio this month. The first is creative solutions to work issues and or renewed zest for work, employment, or passion projects that may or may not have anything to do with work. And this is compliments of Mars being in Leo, bringing zest and maybe even some obsessive energy. Venus joining Mars in Leo, literally to the same degree. They're going to make a conjunction. So not only are we going to have Mars here for a while longer, Venus is going to be in this placement until October because the Venus retrograde is going to occur in the sign of Leo. So the themes that come up at this time are going to carry forth for many months to come. And a lot of this can be around finding these solutions to work problems, to renewing zest for your work or employment, renewing zest for your business. The negative potentials for Leo energies can be power struggles and ego flares. So just want to try to avoid those as much as possible and focus on the zesty, optimistic, solution-oriented type of or part of the spectrum. But that's definitely a major manifestation potential at this time, is that energy crowding in that space. Second major manifestation potential for Scorpio this month is interesting research projects. So the Sun, Mercury, star goddess Juno, the new moon at 26 degrees on June 18th are all going to be in Gemini. Gemini energy lights up Scorpio's 8th house. Gemini rules research, and 8th house rules this sort of like an obsessive energy. Where there's like something so the combination of the two bring this potential to dive into something really interesting. So maybe you're reading a detective series, or maybe you're writing a mystery novel, or maybe you're researching something of an esoteric nature or a more hidden nature, and you're very consumed with it. So there's definitely that potential for a massive amount of research on a topic that you're very much interested in, to the point of even obsession, and the Sun lighting up the path for you. And maybe some of the information you find might be driven through AI, because those things are certainly opening up in a very big way now. The third major manifestation potential for Scorpios this month is inheritances or other windfalls of money. This Gemini energy, all of that I listed already, and the Sun lighting up the 8th house. The 8th house is the house of inheritances. It's the house of other people's money or shared money. So it might put a bright spotlight on the potential of money that's coming to you, or money that you're going to invest, or shared money, spousal money, family money, investments, debt, taxes, credit, loans. All of that is a very strong potential for a major manifestation at this time. Or you may be the one doing some financial planning or inheritance planning or estate planning. But that energy is very much lit up right now. And if you have to make big decisions, remember those dates from the 1st through the 19th have a lot more clear energy if you have to program something in a long term. Okay, so the fourth major manifestation potential for Scorpios at this time has to do with the topic of financial security. All right, so this is a little bit of a different energy than what I just spoke about, although it is related to money and resources in the material realm. The 8th house that's lit up by the Gemini placements is different than these Taurus energies that are abounding this month. So last month in May, I was talking about this. This month, it's still happening. Some of these transits are long-term, like Jupiter will be there for a year. Some of them are short-term, like Mercury will blow out and join the Sun in Gemini. But there's this very major focus on Taurus, which is especially important for Scorpio because it's your opposing sign. So it's making oppositions to your sign. All of these Taurus placements are working in opposition. Now, opposition in astrology can be exactly that. It's pulling away from something else, or it can be the beautiful balance that comes from the tying together or the unifying of opposites. But there is this, between the hangover from the, eclipse, the Scorpio eclipse, the all of the Taurus placements here, the full moon in Sagittarius on June 3rd in your second house of money, which is the Taurus house, so all of these strands are speaking of this topic of financial security, asking the questions, receiving the manifestations, finding the helpers. The seventh house is very much about finding people to help you to reach your goals. And in this case, your goals look very material. They can have to do with getting solar for your house. That is also a sustainable imprint, but it also can be an item that's purchased. So you see, whether it's more material minded in the 3D experience that has to do with more of the mundane, or whether it has to do with, thinking of the future, there's something around, this investment or this financial security discussion or thought process that is coming up in so many different ways. So it's very likely going to touch many Scorpios very directly, whether it's the thought of it, the planning of it, the carrying out of it, or something coming to you without you even trying. This is amazing. This is an amazing time to launch a business, to get a new job, anything like that as it relates to financial security and relationships. So in the month of June, you've got the benefit of the direct energies and the benefit of the retrograde energies, where new projects and new contacts, and then people from the past can also come in and play a major role. Like, let's say you want to start a new business and you need people that you knew from your previous work to help you. Or let's say that you're trying to build a contact or customer list. All of these things are very fully enhanced by the energies in Scorpio at this time. And it looks like you'll be connecting in with a lot of people in very meaningful ways. So the fifth major manifestation potential for Scorpio at this time has to do with clues to your highest expression. Okay, so when we have an eclipse cycle in a certain polarity of signs, which has been Taurus and Scorpio since the end of 2021, we're in the second to last manifestation of that eclipse cycle now, which will end at the end of 2023. Then also the transiting North Node and transiting South Node are going to be in the signs that those eclipses have been in. So transiting North Node is in Taurus, also in the same house that we're talking about. And the North Node is your area of highest expression in this lifetime. So be on the lookout for clues about your highest expression in this lifetime. And a lot of them are going to have to do with things that you physically do, your hard work, your persistence, anything Taurian, basically. Consistency. There's something that you can apply those principles towards that are going to help you to get on your path of your highest expression. As this energy in Scorpio, the transiting South Node is clearing up karma that had been interfering with you. Now, a very big storyline that's been occurring here is the shifting around of energies of your shared resources and your autonomy. So there are going to be endings and beginnings in these areas that are still continuing into this time. And the eclipses really strongly brought that up, and it's continued with the placements that we have at this time. So something of your shared relationships with someone is coming to a close, and something of your autonomous expression is opening, while at the same time you're feeding that autonomy back into your shared relationship. So this beautiful sort of back and forth. But, look for ways that you really feel like that will help you feel like you're on track with your highest expression, because those, may be really calling out to you at this time. Okay, so the number 6 major manifestation potential for Scorpio at this time is surprise and or sudden relationship situations. Okay, and we see this coming from multiple places in your chart. Most strongly, I'm looking at transiting Uranus, continuing to move through your 7th house of relationships, sudden news, for better or worse. Exciting new people, inventive people, idiosyncratic, sort of progressive, forward-moving people coming into your life, or people who have addictions and are erratic and are, can't be trusted. This Uranus instability type of energy can run the gamut of, a really negative expression to something, really positive. But there's that energy of instability in the relationship space where sudden things are happening. And the eclipses also can bring this type of energy. So you've kind of got that dual thing going on. Plus, Pluto is newly into Aquarius and newly into sitting on your fourth house cusp, which is a very critical point in the chart. And the fourth house cusp rules your home and family and real estate and housing. So you've got, Plutonian power, Pluto being your ruler, bringing kind of atomic energy and potential mixing with this, energy of instability and sudden news. So, there's a lot going on where there could be a lot of changes coming to your relationship space, for better and worse, as manifestations at this time. And the Pluto energy rules birth and death and rebirth and the rising of, from the ashes and basically transformation and alchemy. So you'll have plenty of opportunity to create alchemical changes in your life and take any lead that is coming to you and create gold. Okay, so the seventh major manifestation potential for Scorpio that I want to talk about has to do with a chance for international opportunities, including some international travel. So this full moon on June 3rd, the days around June 3rd at 13 degrees of Sagittarius, is happening in your second house of finances. I talked about this a little bit before related to some other topics. But fullness, completion, fruition, drama, opportunities, manifestations in Sagittarius can bring everything Sagittarius. A teaching opportunity abroad, a learning opportunity for a language or with an international company, a chance to go on an international trip, anything having to do with higher learning or connections with different kinds of people in different kinds of places is all coming up in a big way, especially at the beginning of the month. If you want to know even more ways that these planetary potentials may affect you, you will love to join my VIP community, which is free. You can go to anniehelpsyou.com, sign up there. You'll get my monthly write-up of the month energies ahead. I always send them out early so you know what you're working with. Major aspects, my favorite aspects, the ones to be awareful and careful of, ones that could go either way, a written summary of the most important general points of the month, all delivered into your inbox 1 month early, plus access to my 28-day virtual coaching program called Shine, plus access to different promos and special things that only my VIPs get. So you can sign up for that at anniehelpsyou.com. You can also see all kinds of other ways to connect with my many ways that I put things out into the world at that site. If you want to learn astrology, I have ways you can do that too. Besides my free offerings, you can see my Becoming a Professional Astrologer Mastery Course at beastropro.com, beastropro.com. I hope you have a wonderful month, and I'll see you next month. Bye.